When I first moved to LA, I taught a class, the local Aisha Torah, 5 or 6 couples. The ritual was I would go to a Starbucks in Beverly Hills and I sit there with my chumash and I'm cramming last minute before the class on the Torah portion. And I had it open and I ordered a tea. And then there was a woman who looked like, at the time, the term was Generation X. She didn't look Jewish at all. Shows to Goya. And she was cleaning tables, and I saw her crane her neck and look over my shoulder to see what I was doing. Comes over to me. I'm the only one in the Starbucks, and they're about to close. She's cleaning the table. She said, I really need to do more of that. So I look up and I said, more of what? I said, more Torah learning. So that blew my mind because that meant I was guilty of racial profiling her not to be a Jew. And who knows who a Jew is? You can't tell by their exterior, the spiked hair, the clothes that they're wearing. I said, wow, yeah. And then she continued cleaning the tables. And then she came back to me, Rabbi. She didn't know I was rabbi, but I was wearing a yarmulke, so she called me a rabbi. She said, Rabbi, do you mind if I ask you a question? I said, sure, no problem. She said, if you have a tattoo, does that make you a bad person? I answered, according to the Torah, it's an explicit verse that you're not supposed to tattoo, and we can discuss that. But that wasn't the answer that was going to get me to the root of why she asked the question, and that's essentially where I wanted to go. Why are you asking this question? I said, maybe it depends on the motivation behind the tattoo. At that point, she rolled up her sleeves and she shows me 3 letters tattooed on her upper forearm. Mem Ches Lamed, Mem Chet Lamed, Machal, which means forgiveness or to forgive. So that blows me away. So I asked her what the backstory behind that tattoo is. So she proceeds to tell me that she was abused as a child. And she said, I was seething in anger and I couldn't let go of my anger. And somebody told me, why don't you find out what your religion says about forgiveness? And she did a deep dive into forgiveness about Mechila and how Mechila doesn't only take into account the imperfections of other people, it also takes into account the damage that we do to ourselves when we hold on to anger. So she decided to tattoo it on her upper forearm to remind her anytime she finds herself slipping into anger and rage, which we can understand that happening. I turned to her and I said, if there was ever a kosher tattoo, you're wearing it.
So grateful that you were my random local Orthodox rabbi, one of my favorite Israelite rabbis.
God doesn't do random.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor knowing you.
Same.
Okay, Kol Tuv.